Yeah, I would say they're the more stable team, but Paradigm are definitely hungry. I don't think between them they've not won much.
Yeah.
In the past year or so, you know, they done well previously. Curafed, Trix, Lobster, they won the launch event.
They did, yeah.
But from there, they've not really won anything. So obviously they're really hungry for a win here. And first game, I think it's going to be really hard for them, you know, because Titan have seen all the previous games. They're just going to have to play the first game and sort of get a feeling for.
Do we think
Kali they're going to pick and ban?
Is going to be picked here?
I think Kali is definitely going to be picked. Yeah.
I mean, we've seen some of the premier theory crafters in the scene kind of talking about the Titan's Bane plus Kali passive interaction, granting you essentially true damage, especially against tanks if you get the right target in the early game. But as the games are trending later, as you mentioned, you know, Kali is always something that kind of rises to the top when you see those late game oriented, or at least the meta kind of dictating a late game oriented carry.
Yeah, that's really the key right there, is that it's all about the late game these days, plus the fact that Repikas himself on Titan, the jungler, is a very, very proficient Kali player. Going back to one of the most iconic moments in Titan's history, we were talking about, do they tilt, which of these teams is going to tilt? Titan had one of the most notable comebacks of all time against Cloud9 at the time. 3 Phoenixes down, etc., etc. One off the back of great defense, and then an incredible offense from Repikas' Kali. So here we are many, many moons later. Kali is now in the picture. Repikas is still on the team. I think it's just waiting to happen.
Yeah, definitely. I think the largest comeback since probably the launch tournament where Snipe threw to Cog Prime.
Yeah. Even larger, I'd say. I mean, 3 Phoenixes down. It was just so much incredible play coming out from basically everybody on the team. Pretty Prime and everybody came together, and that's what we're used to seeing out of Titan. And as we get into these picks and bans, 2 bans are already on the board. Ratatasker banned out by Paradigm, and Ymir taken out by Titan.
Well, there's a couple of things you can be sure of always in a European LAN event. There will be very little Ares and Ymir play. As,
yes.
They will almost always get banned out. Ratatasker and Ao Kuang. The bans you see on your screen here, I would actually be a little surprised to see these not be the bans for most of the games in this set. It'll come down to an individual player really showing up on some god to force the ban.
Specifically the Ares, Titan's support player, Kanye Life, is known not just for being aggressive, previously known as murder, but Ares specifically has won multiple sets, multiple games for Titan. Going back to the World Championships that just passed in January, Titan brought it back almost to win the entire series against Cloud9 on the back of Kanye Life's Ares. So I don't expect to see any play of that on the side of Titan.
First pick Bologna coming out, so I don't think it's a big surprise here.
It's a great god to pick on LAN as well, Ares, you know, with the ping.
Chains,
super easy to hit the chains.
Well, you see Titan drafting right into the Freya there to keep it away from that Bologna Freya lane that we saw be very, very popular in previous European sets today. And they're going to take the Giannis right away as well, who was banned out, I think, every game versus Fnatic for zeros, yeah?
Yeah, I think every game, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, not necessarily indicating, I don't think Pretty Prime is necessarily the same caliber of Giannis, or at least it's not such a far away kind of best in slot for him as it is for zeros, who that's really his hallmark god. But, you know, maybe it lends a little bit more to the strategy they're looking to run here.
I'm actually very interested to see if we'll see a Vulcan. Obviously not this game, but if we'll see a Vulcan sometime later in the set. Pretty Prime really made a name for himself.
Questions answered early here.
There it is, the Kali, but on Paradigm, not the side that we would have expected.
I think this is very much a counter pick. They don't want to. They don't want to ban it. They want to melee hard carry.
Curafed is a great Kali player as well. So
Curafed is quietly a very, very good player. I mean, he has his ups and downs, but always seems to perform when it counts for this team. Trix often in that boat as well. The two of them, the young guys, good friends, and they trend together, it seems like. When they're both on, they win. Paradigm wins. But back on the side of Titan, they'll take Serket to go along with Giannis Freya. And, well, right now it's just this team that Titan has drafted. Like, how do you actually kill them and lock them down? They're so mobile.
Yeah, I mean, Serket's a great pick into Kali, and that's why they picked it up there before it got banned out, you know?
Right, yeah. Obviously, the 100% healing reduction on Serket's ultimate preventing Kali from getting much out of her passive.
And Paradigm probably know that. That's why they picked up third pick before it gets banned.
The Anher going to be banned out by Titan right here. As we can see, both sides of the board don't have Hunters. So you're going to go ahead and ban out that one. And Geb being banned out by Paradigm. Freya, of course, can be played in that long lane. So not quite... You don't want to waste the ban on a Hunter just in case.
So, you know, this kind of follows a trend of what we've seen out of European pick and ban strategy. Sylvanas very, very low value to the European squads. Still through here. I mean, through this many picks in North America, he'd been picked up in the first or second picking slot. Here, he's going to make it through, and it will likely be the kind of consolation support that Titan will take later on in the draft.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see Sylvanas here, honestly. It's a really good pick with Freya. Yeah, there you go. It gives Freya a really easy laning phase, so there's no reason not to. And they banned out the Anher as well. Anher's not a great matchup with Freya.
Yeah, Freya's base lifesteal Uprisingman's Blessing when paired with those wisps, because they're actually a tremendous amount of sustain in the lane.
If you can get Freya through the early game.
Whoa.
The Aphrodite
Is Confrey
picked
going
up
back to
by
solo lane
Paradigm.
here?
That's what I'm seeing. Well, that's on Paradigm side. So I mean, the Paradigm. You look at
Is
the
Confrey playing for Paradigm now?
everything is up in the air and switching around.
So
here.
it's Zalia.
Yeah, I mean.
Although, I mean, you never know, right? It could be Aphrodite Bologna dual lane in some crazy turn of fate, and it's a Kali solo because who knows, but really unlikely. But it would make a little bit of sense with Zalia, kind of, generally speaking, filling that carry role for Paradigm. But Titan, they're going to round things out with a Hades here, and wow, there's a lot of very, very high potency opportunities for silences on this Hades against this lineup for Paradigm. They are very, very spell dependent.
Oh yeah, especially, I mean, anytime a silence is picked up, I'm immediately looking at Isis. Wing Gust is a very potent ability, but only if you can actually use it. As soon as Hades comes in, that's going to be the #1 threat to go ahead and silence out either during
They've got
the
a
cast
lot
or
of
right
options versus
beforehand.
Wingust, right? They have the Circuit Taunt, they have Giannis Portals, and they now have the Hades Silence, not to mention Banish out of Freya. So don't expect Isis to get too much done this game in terms of damage. It's going to be about utility and those ultimates for her, any impact she's going to have in this game. Unless, of course, Lobster finds a way to just win mid lane outright.
Of course, and I mean, we've seen Lobster play. Lobster's one of those players that can change his playstyle depending on what the team needs at the time. He can be your hyper carry with a super damage mage, or he can go the utility-oriented Isis pick and play it real hard with the open-ended combos. So look for a lot of disjointed, look for a lot of intense spirit balls and the silences to really make Isis very, very useful out of this mid laner.
Of course, maybe Titan has lost sight of exactly how the Kali works, right? I mean, when Kali has been in vogue, giving up Kali with Aphrodite has been a suicide note, basically. And Paradigm has been able to draft that here. Obviously, looking at their lineup, the main deficiency it seems they have is going to be frontline capabilities, right? The Aphrodite needs to be 30 minutes plus before she's really going to be a viable frontline tank, unless she itemizes in a Breastplate of Valor, which is a really tough item to go into in the current setup because you get invaded almost guaranteed as a solo lane mage.
And you'll also be up against Hades. So you're going to be, if you start off the Breastplate of Valor, you're not going to be building against your lane.
Right.
So Hades will just continue to wreak havoc on you. Sure, you'll look nicer against the Circuit, but don't forget, the Circuit's damage is also largely true damage. So that's not going to mitigate really much of anything there.
That's right. There's not a good and easy item to build into that's giving you magical protection and cooldown reduction in a way that Aphrodite wants it. You know, she's gonna be looking at a Warlock Sash, and as I already mentioned, percentage damage coming out of Circuit, very effective against that health stacking. Well, it's moments away here from getting into the game, guys. We've broken down the lineups here. No big surprise in the bans, as we mentioned. You know, Ares, Amir, Ao Kwong going to be likely banned out for most of the games. Ratatasker could be as well, although, you know, Ratatasker hasn't seen that much play in Europe from what I understand. And I mean, how has it looked in scrims, Reels? Has there been quite a bit of Ratatasker?
Yeah, there has been actually. It's surprising that there hasn't been more of it. I mean, we don't favour it that much, but other teams do. Curofed plays it super well, so I think you might see it in at least one of these games.
As a jungler, though.
As a jungler or a solo laner.
Yeah, we've seen both sides of Ratatasker, both in the jungle and the solo lane. Most notably, Divios played the solo, and it's so interesting. One of the key points about Ratatasker, one of the newer gods, is he gets a special item, his Acorn, and you can go multiple different directions. And we see a lot of the solo laners building a heal Acorn, which adds a healing aspect and sustain into the lane. And then there's damage Acorns, there's slowing Acorns, so you can go utility, you can go straight assassin,
it's all types of
heal.
Acorns.
So with that in the thought process, he can fit so many different roles for a team that it's really open-ended. So Paradigm banning it out this time around, but as Real said, I could definitely see Cuvo playing this as a very, very aggressive, high mobile assassin later on.
So, well, Paradigm. I mean, I think it's important that they get this first win, honestly. I think that like their chance of really winning this set is going to be very, very important that they take this first game, because I do think that this team does rely on momentum some, and if they don't make it to late game, or rather, yeah, let me revise that. I think they need to make it to late game. They need to see their colleague come online. If they don't get there, it's going to be very demoralizing. You know, try to pick something that's kind of on new meta in a very new kind of still being established meta, and trying to pick something very late game oriented. If they get rolled and they don't get Kali online, I think it's going to be a tough kind of mental block to get over.
Now, Reals, how do you feel about this Aphrodite pick for Zalia? I mean, a lot of the time, Zalia is the hard carry for Paradigm, sort of like, I mean, they're more team-oriented, but akin to AFK on the North American side of things with Cyclone Spin. Aphrodite, very much a support. It's not the Sun Wukong. It's not the Bakasuras that we see out of Zalia. How is this going to change what Paradigm has to do as a unit?
Well, I think this is going to be super hard for them. They're going to have a Sylvanas and Freya in the dual lane, which, if they get there first, they should outpush the Bellona and Rama. Maybe the Bellona goes red pot and they get something back there, who knows. But the Hades definitely going to outpush the Afro, and the Circuit's going to have a lot more presence in the jungle than the Kali, so it's going to be hard for them. It's going to be really hard for them early game. As long as they can just not die and get through the early game without dying and without giving up too much gold, I think they can really make this work.
Easier said than done,
Easier
though.
said than done, definitely, yeah.
So what's one of the key points that Paradigm... How does Paradigm protect themselves to actually get to the late game?
It's just experience, you know, trying to know where they're going, trying to know where they are, ward coverage as well, and just trying to play safe as much as you can, you know. You just have to wait and see whether it works out or not. It's going to be really tricky for them.
One thing that I'm looking at here that seems to be really difficult for Paradigm is going to be, how does Kali itemize to actually kill anything? Right? I mean, it looks like she's going to need a sprint and a Fatalis if she's ever going to have any hope of sticking to these targets. I mean, they're just all so mobile. Or maybe even a blink is going to be needed.
That's what I expect to see. Now with sprint being changed, that it doesn't affect the basic attacks anymore. Fatalis is the way to go. And blink, what blink allows Kali to do, you blink in to get up on the individual, and then after the escape is used, you still have your jump available to go ahead and chase. Now, will that help Giannis when he walks through 17 walls? Maybe not so much, but the Circuit chase will be a little bit easier, as will the Hades chase. And Hades is usually a problematic target, but with the penetration Kali comes on, might be a great choice to be attacking him.
I think you need Kali to get a kill in the first 15 minutes of this game to really feel safe going that 20-minute period, because I mean, one thing is that's going to be another. I mean, Paradigm's squad is just, again, it's actually similar to what we said a little bit in the last set of yesterday, where Titan, their execution is going to be a hell of a lot easier than Paradigm's in these team fights. Paradigm basically is living and dying by the Isis ultimate here in any kind of 5v5 grouping, where Titan has Wrath of Terra, the Hades Pillar of Agony, not to mention, you know, Giannis, Freya, Cirque able to pick off single targets really, really quickly. Aphrodite ultimate, you know, it's only going to be able to save one.
It's the risk versus reward factor for me with Paradigm. Kali has 2 lives initially with the ultimate. Now with the Aphrodite, she's got 3 lives, and depending on how much damage that Isis Circle of Protection absorbs, that's a potential for a 4th life on Kali. If this train gets rolling, it's going to be almost unstoppable for Titan, but that's a really big if. It is going to be very tough in the early game, as we said multiple times. But what we haven't really talked about much is this Bellona. We see a lot of rotation coming out, especially what we saw in the last match that you just played in Reels. A lot of supports not necessarily staying in the lane. Do you expect this Bellona to hang out more in the jungle, or do you think with Rom you'll see the Bellona wait out to keep Freya on her toes?
I think she's going to be in the jungle a lot. Not in the dual lane. I mean, Rama's got an absolutely fine matchup against Freya. He's going to outpush her. It's going to be fine for him. The Bellona's not going to have to go back there much. He's just going to have to keep focused on the Freya. That disarm is huge. When the Freya pops her 2-1, the disarm from Bellona is absolutely huge. It shut down a ton of her damage in the team fight. So if he can do that, then I think they're going to have some good team fights here. But it's just about getting to the stage where they can have a team fight.
It's that and kind of getting through that early game push out of Freya and Sylvanas. I mean, Bellona's going to have to stay there maybe a bit longer than you would expect, just to keep those disarms out so the wave doesn't get pushed until Rama gets kind of active around level 7 with those astral arrows. But we're underway here, guys. About a minute 10 away from the gong sounding. Paradigm versus Titan. Paradigm will be the blue squad, bottom side of the minimap, left side of the spectator UI. It's Zalia, Cubo, Fred, Lobster, Trix, and Funballer. It's going to be Aphrodite, Kali, Isis, Bellona, and Rom. Their opponents today are Titan, top seed out of Europe, top side of the minimap, right side of your spectator UI, and wearing the red trunks. It's Ataraxion, Hades in the solo, Reppy in the jungle as Cirque, Pretty Prime in the mid lane as Giannis. That leaves Kanye Life and Confrey as your dual lane Sylvanas and Freya.
Now, right away, before we even talk about anything else, Lobster on Isis. So Isis is a character that is extremely proficient in the early game. Wingus clears waves fantastically well. On top of that, we see the magical potion. Last time we saw Lobster do this on the Isis, it allowed so much pressure in this mid lane. The waves got cleared almost instantly, and because of that, Lobster was invading the enemy jungle along with the rest of the Paradigm squad.
I'm going to one-up you here.
Look for a lot of that.
Let's talk about Achilles Spear picked up on Confrey at level 1.
No surprise there. That's Freya. Freya.
It's a little bit of a surprise. We haven't seen any other Freyas that have been played, 6 times so far this tournament by it.
That's very true. Reels, I mean, you've sort of discussed it. It's one of those, if you play Freya, you have an opinion. You either like it or you don't. We don't see it out of you. What does Achilles Spear mean to you?
I mean, it is a good item. I used it for a little while. I was testing it out for a while. And it is pretty good. I mean, it's a lot of gold to invest for a start.
Sure.
At level 1. So you got that, and then going into team fights, a lot of the time with Freya, it definitely helps with lane clear, and they should definitely have, well, you'll see here, they're going to outpush them heavily, but it definitely helps with the lane clear. But in team fights, there's a lot of times where you pop it and you're trying to trade with people, and you just get bursted.
Yeah, you get hit by the unstable
damage.
vortex or something from Giannis, and all of a sudden, but look at that, the banish coming on the
miscommunication
Funballer into the root. We didn't talk about that very much. I mean, that is a pretty much
That would have
guaranteed
been a free
hit.
kill. Yeah, that was a bit of miscommunication between them there. They banished at the same time as he pulled, so...
That will be Weakening Curse on cooldown, or Creeping Curse on cooldown, so that's 100 seconds until that's up one more time, but that's going to be a lot of kill potential between
They've already
those two
established
characters.
that lane control as well. I mean,
Oh,
you know, now they kind of have Paradigm going, oh, damn. You know, like after almost losing Funballer to...
statement.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, they've kind of come out and made that statement here. But mid-camp's being contested here. Looks like they will go to the way. Maybe a first blood as well.
Wow.
Yes. Reppy getting the kill on the Lobster. He's going to make the play on a Cuba Fred as well. Does have the poison stacked up. Not quite enough with that percentage damage. But first blood, nonetheless, going the way of Titan, giving them about an 800 gold lead now. And, well, as we mentioned, you know, Kali very good in the late game, but she needs a little bit of help in the early game to get things going.
And that's what they needed not to happen.
Right. Yeah, they needed... not their mid laner with the red pot that's now 400 gold in the hole.
That's what I'm looking
That's
at.
a really big hit. Really big hit.
450 gold is the cost of that purple pot, and it's temporary stats. It doesn't add it permanently, so the second that Lobster died, it's essentially 450 gold just absolutely wasted. Not going to be a good look for this middle lane, but as we said, Isis doesn't exactly flounder in the beginning of
Can you put that into perspective, Reels, compared to the double kill that Fenrir got against you guys in game number 3? Is that... I mean, that wasn't a red pot going to waste, or I'm sorry, purple pot. Is that actually worse than giving up a couple kills?
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
No, that's about as bad as it gets right there.
Yeah.
It's basically the same thing now. The mid laner and the jungler have both died within the first couple minutes.
The thing is, that was the only lane they had any pressure in. You know, they look at the map here. They got the dual lane that's pushing up. They got the solo lane that's getting completely controlled by the Hades here. And now their only lane that had any kind of pressure was the Isis with the pot. And now she's just died. The Kali's just died. They got absolutely no pressure on the map at all. This game is going to be super hard from here. And honestly, I don't know if there's any coming back from this.
Really? This early in the game?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when you pick this kind of lineup that is so orientated for late game, and that kind of stuff happens within 2 minutes of the game, yeah, I mean, it's going to be super hard for them.
Yeah, what we see out of these, like, kind of very aggressive assassin-based kind of carries, the Circuit that we saw this happening to Twig yesterday as well. When you get behind that 1 or 2 deaths in the early game, all of a sudden you have to farm instead of actually going trying to pressure the map, because you're always half a level behind or a level behind. And it's so hard to kind of get back into it, especially as a god like Kali with basically no kill potential.
And these are like some of the best players in the world. They're not just going to let you free farm back into it. You know, they know you're behind. They know where you're going.
Yeah.
They can pressure your buffs. They can be everywhere you are and just carry on shutting you down.
When you see that kind of early game, I mean, are you in the comms calling, okay, let's ward their jungle? We know generally speaking around 4 minutes those buffs are coming back up. Let's make sure we make the play there.
Pretty much thinking hopefully the servers crash. Yeah, I don't know. You just have to try and stay positive, you know. But the worst thing is, the best thing in that kind of scenario is if one lane's doing really well.
Right.
Then you always got that feeling, all right, there's someone that can do work for us and hopefully carry us or bring us back into the game here. But in this scenario, I mean, every lane's getting outpushed. They got pressure all across the map.
And you mentioned earlier, right, with that composition, like even if Zayli was winning his lane,
That's
right, what is that Aphrodite really going to do?
exactly.
Yeah.
It's so much different than what Paradigm usually brings to the table with Xaylia on, I mean, anything. There's so many hyper carries that we've seen Xaylia bring out, from Freya to Ao Kuang to Bakasura, and it's a support-oriented character this time around to help out the Kali, and it's just not going to be that person you can lean on like they're used to. So a lot of adjustments need to be made at mid-game already, and we're only 3 minutes in. So
yeah, it's not looking good for Paradigm here.
I mean, yeah, to be fair, right, like Aphrodite does do a tremendous amount of damage.
sure.
Like, back off is one of the most damaging abilities in the game, and it's instant. But it just, I mean, she only has it every so often, right? She doesn't bring any really any carry potential, even that other soul lane mages could bring to the table, not even in-handers necessarily. I mean, Kronos' spells are just as powerful, is what I'm getting at, and then he has the enhance on top of it. So she's really bringing, as you mentioned, all that support, all of that ability to keep the Kali up, but if your Kali has nothing, and your Aphrodite's stacked, like, you know, you're not getting much out of that.
Nope.
Unfortunately not. We'll take a look at the jungle right here.
Here you go. They're already looking to pressure their blue buff.
Yeah. This is what we were afraid of. Just the amount of setbacks that Paradigm has suffered. Titan is able to just bully Paradigm out of doing what they need
Paradigm are sitting here. They know they can't even take this. They can't even take their own blue buff.
Oh, here we go. Blinking forward, using that ultimate, kicking back. Lobster's going to drop his ultimate. No healing coming his way. That's an easy kill. Boom goes the dynamite. Look at the poison spread to the blue buff as well. That means there's just no way that even a steal is capable from Cubo Fred. But one thing I do want to mention is that Cubo Fred actually had out-leveled Reppy somehow.
Really?
He was 6 and Reppy was 5 going into that fight, obviously with a kill now even, but...
I mean, we saw that similarly in the first round of Paradigm versus Cloud9. I think it has something to do with the way they start, Bart. You see
the Paradigm start.
Yeah, you see the back harpies being started at the same time as the buff.
Back harpies pulled together, yeah.
Exactly, they
He
pull.
just went a level ahead again.
Yeah.
So, Cubo Fred, so that... Well, unfortunately what that means is it means that Lobster... It gets a little bit behind if you prioritize that farm onto your jungler, which makes sense obviously with the Kali, and then when he drops his pot as well, on and on and on.
Not a good look.
The snowball's going up the hill, not down the hill.
Which, I mean, this to me, this game right now is really impressive from Titan because with the recent patches, the snowball is shut down. There isn't that much snowball potential anymore.
This is real life. Look at the
Titan's
XP per minute, 800 on Giannis, 450 for Isis.
Yeah, and the goal difference between the Kali and Circuit. I mean, it's already a bad matchup anyway. And with that much gold difference, that's almost 1,000.
Almost 1,000 net worth.
At 5 minutes. At 5 minutes, that is huge.
200 gold a minute that he's going up. Yeah.
Yeah, that is rough.
But it's Kali. You can never count out Kali.
Nope.
Very, very true. I mean, we're talking about how dismal this is right now. But the important part is right now. The second Kali sort of hits her stride, nothing's going to break it.
Paradigm has to find some point in this game where they're able to just stall out Titan.
Yeah.
Because Titan is... That last kill on the Circuit, that kind of kept the momentum going. If they're able to find 1 or 2 more kills before 10 minutes, it becomes basically impossible at that point for Paradigm without winning multiple big team fights at an objective and taking that objective.
I think Paradigm are definitely underestimating the comp that they had early, grouping up like that in the mid-camps.
Second time we see the blink out of the Circuit into the immediate ultimate. This time it won't net a kill. Paradigm will save themselves underneath their tower, but that's very, very aggressive play coming out of Repicos on the side of Titan.
And Lobster's 3 levels behind here in the mid lane.
Yikes.
Yeah, and he hasn't even finished his boot chest. It's not looking good.
At least it's not Agni that he's going up against.
Yeah.
Very, very true.
I mean, the only way they're looking to get back into this is a Gold Fury steal or something like that. The Titan side have not really got the best objective damage and secure here. Freya's got a lot of burst, but it runs out. It's not like an auto attack god. You got your little bit of burst and it runs out, and they haven't really got anything to secure the objectives with. So maybe you get a good Isis ultimate onto one of the objectives, they could be back in the game.
Maybe a fun ball or Rom snipe to take
Exactly, yeah. You never know.
Rom very, very good at taking those early objectives, but now it's going to be Zalia under the crosshairs for Repicos and Ataraxia. Ataraxia pushing the wave in. Repi looks like he wants to dive the tower, at least force out that Undying Love here. No silence just yet. There it is. Ultimate not available, but they will force out the ultimate nicely there. That means that Zalia no longer is sitting pretty in this lane. He's got to respect any initiation at this point.
That also is Beads 1 as well, which is a very long cooldown. 170 seconds until those are back up because it's just the first rank. And with that...
Did I miss something there, or did he just panic and press both?
Probably both.
Yeah, I think it was just...
I think he ulted, and the ult was not long enough to get out of the Hades ultimate. It was dragging him back in, so he had to bead the little distance.
Wow, look at that. Lobster Force uses ultimate there to try to avoid it, but the brilliantly placed ultimate from Repicos to shut down any healing. And, there's that kill to keep the momentum going that we were saying really needed to not happen. Wrath of Terror used, but Malona, does she dash out of it in time? It looks like yes. Cubo Fred trying to make anything happen for his team, but I can't imagine he really can move forward aggressively. Roma and Invicta, Eagles rally over the top. Funballer here as well.
And you can see Paradigm here just looking for anything to get back into this game, and you can see everything they're doing just not working at the moment.
I mean, that's the fight that Paradigm kind of largely wants.
Look at Titan.
If they don't get a kill, that's all right as long as they don't get killed themselves.
Look at these guys.
Unfortunately, Titan trying to turn it around.
They get an advantage, and they bought 4 blinks. Like, they're just going to keep the screws tight here.
Yep.
It's just going to be nonstop aggression coming out. And look at them. They used 3 blinks in that last initiation there. I mean, they're just going to pile on to whatever target they can find and keep them all down.
Comfrey over here trying to take his purple buff.
He'll try. Now going to eat the chain slows from Rom. Rom missing a couple shots there, and the banish going to be enough to make the distance for Confrey to get out of there. Funballer really need to hit that last slow before the banish have any shot of securing that kill.
Yeah, it's a lot of mechanical prowess that has to go on in this dual lane for it to really work. But for Paradigm, it's the only lane that isn't really lagging behind. Equal levels on the 2 hunters, or Freya playing the hunter role for both Paradigm and Titan. So Funball really the last hope.
Hades actually gets back a little bit before Aphrodite there. Now is up a full set of penetration boots over the Warlock Sash. Obviously, she's only a few hundred gold behind, going able to get them back for herself. But Gold Fury starting to get a big reality here for Titan with that Hades ultimate online, with those pen boots as well. Some Warlock Sash she'll be able to tank for quite some time.
I mean, you mentioned the pace of this game part. This is exactly what the textbook says how to fight a Kali. You get on her quickly, and then you keep the pace of the game so that nobody can really feel comfortable. As Real said, these are some of the best players in the world, and they're not going to allow you to just free farm. Likewise, they're not going to allow you to feel comfortable.
The biggest problem here for me...
Well, it's not as big as a problem as Trix Tank has now, as Bologna in a lot of trouble. The percent damage coming through. Boom goes a dynamite, the poison will pop. Kanye Life credited for the kill. He goes for the pluck as well, and a Funballer not going to find it. But Giannis Ultimate being shown off there by Titan.
They're just everywhere at this point, and there's nothing Paradigm can do about it.
Yeah, this is, so as we kind of mentioned during the picks and bans, like how does Paradigm secure damage into any of these highly mobile targets? And well, Titan's solution to making sure there was no counterplay was to then buy blinks on top of all of those really, really mobile targets. So it's their ability to get from one side of the map to the other with the Giannis ultimate and all these mobility items, and Lobster dead again here.
And this is the problem. What level he's still 13, so Giannis must almost be 14, and Lobster's still 10. He's almost 4 levels behind, and at this point, he's just cannon fodder.
Yeah, he will fall 4 levels here now as a Gold Fury to go down quickly here. And yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, maybe some kind of securing ability lacking, but Unstable Vortex is going to hit that Gold Fury for about 400 damage at any stage in the game now, past that early. And it's going to take 2 ROM snipes and probably coordinate with another ability to snake it away in a true kind of open contest where they're not fighting it.
And at this point, there's no way that ISIS is even getting anywhere near the Gold Fury.
No.
If they're trying to do it, the ISIS is never going anywhere near the Gold Fury.
Look at the slide, 5,000 gold, 5,800 XP here through 10 minutes. So talk us through, Reels, kind of when and why you would concede a match. Like, is this something you guys would be talking about in comms?
Honestly, like, it might even be a good idea for Paradigm just to F6 this game and just get out of their head and go straight into the next one, because for me, this game is looking pretty much like it's over.
It's looking really dismal because of the amount of action we have in the middle lane, but look at the bottom of your screen. Kali is, despite not being 5-0-2 like her enemy jungle, she's ahead of Serket with the experience, and Funball not really lagging behind.
1,300 gold behind individually. Those shin size can't really come fast enough.
Yeah, exactly. And Kali can't 1v5 them, it needs to be a team effort, and the rest of his team is just way too far behind to do anything at this point.
Yeah, Kali has a hard time dealing with Freya with a Fatalis as well. That backpedal very, very good here. Ice is going to fall again. Nothing that Lobster can even do against Ataraxia. Ataraxia devours souls over the top of the Replicas as well. Tier 1 is going to be free. Funballer thought for a moment there that he was going to go try to 1v4 by turning the corner, and instead realizes that it's the Tier 2 they got to try to defend, and maybe a little bit of of how this game has gone for Paradigm in a nutshell. The link actually missed there by Zalia onto Funballer. But Funballer credited with a kill there. First kill of the game for Paradigm as they defend their Tier 2 successfully.
Yeah, Kanye caught a couple of hits from the tower, I believe, and just tanked a lot of what Paradigm had to throw at him. And final hit goes to Funball, so he'll get credited for putting Paradigm on the board here 12 minutes in. Long time, so really tough.
Well, we have chin size completed now for Kali. Trix Tank, he's actually, he thought that was his buff. He was wrong. It was actually Titan's buff in his own jungle. Titan moving forward. Ataraxia, will he be able to find it? No, it's a double hit. Let's actually take a listen into the comms as this fight continues.
Kiviel. He was super low.
He's no health. No health. You guys don't have to fight. Just keep getting buffs. Keep getting buffs. All right, we got the Tier 1. So if we keep doing this, then we can get through. I'll go left.
Come on.
Good job.
Nice.
Yo, this is spawning. I mean, I'll water for you, Nate.
The blue is spawning, so
our blue
probably look for it. I'm backing here.
I'll call you size. Shit.
Oh yeah.
Are they at size now?
That's why I died so quick.
Yeah, she.
That was Titan we were just listening to. The cursed voice listening there, and you see the team getting a little bit of a morale boost out of that Pretty Prime ultimate.
The camera missed it because you can't predict that. Sometimes you just roll the dice, and long way away that Janus ultimate picks up the kill.
10-2 now for Titan, and well, queue up Fred. I'm sure that was maybe the nail in the coffin for him.
That's what I was literally just about to say.
Yeah.
Literally the nail in the coffin. After that happens, I think queue up Fred might be saying F6 after that.
He may be saying F this after that.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, that's the type of play that, is it the worst thing that could have happened? No.
No.
Is it the most, did you get outplayed? No. Does it feel awful? Yes.
Yeah, does it make you really mad? Yeah, I'm sure it does. Yeah, but, you know, hey, Cubo, he's moving along, chin size, working on that Fatalis,
Yeah.
but he's fighting the Circuit that's going to have a Deathbringer before he finishes Fatalis. This game needs to go about 75 minutes, I think, for Paradigm to win.
I think so, yeah.
Well, Paradigm seem to be in it to win it. We haven't even seen these frustration surrender vote come out from anybody on
It's
screen.
still Aphrodite Kali, right?
Yeah,
like
it's still
Exactly.
Aphrodite Kali, yeah.
An hour-long game, 55 minutes to 70 minutes period, like, they win, but... whew,
Can
They
you
just
get
have to
there?
wait. They just have to wait. Hopefully Titan make a mistake and they can capitalize off that.
A lot of damage coming out against Titan right now. This might have been a little bit aggressive.
This could be good for
Paradigm
them.
really turning things around. The Isis ultimate going to be down. Not going to do enough damage. And Kanye Life gets the first kill.
Yeah, that was the Weakening Curse. They were trying to wait out the Weakening Curse to pop that ultimate and get the healing back. Unable to secure it. Cuba Fred, as you saw, also slowed down so significantly by that Weakening Curse. Unable to move forward. But now, with his chin size and the hit chain reset, able to get a good bit of damage on Ataraxia with the ult. Trying to dash out Bologna. Not happening. Trick Sync down as well. That's 2 members gone for Paradigm. Tier 2 now in trouble as Sylvanas is able to heal the team back up. You got to think, if Sylvanas gets his Lotus Crown online here as his 3rd item and skips Heartward, like, how do they ever stop the push?
So much sustain. It's raw light almost. Just able to just heal themselves up and keep on going. That's exactly what Titan is doing here at this mid lane tier 2, just 15 minutes in. Very, very fast game for Titan.
Well, and when you think back to the European MVP vote, right? Zeros was actually not voted MVP of Europe. It was pretty prime for the mid lane position, even though Zero statistically was by far the better player this split. But maybe a little bit of indication why here. Pretty prime, 12 kills, and he's been in all 12 of them. 2 kills, 10 assists to his credit. Giannis has been everywhere on this map.
Literally everywhere. Yeah, and it's been an absolute nightmare for Paradigm.
Paradigm just not able to escape the crosshairs of Titan. They're always around, even here in the dual lane, which was doing all right for Paradigm. Now Titan has shifted onto the left side of the map to really create that unease feeling for Paradigm, even in their dual lane that, as we said, Funball is hanging on, but can't even get his purple buff.
Circuit's such a good pick when she's ahead
Yes.
versus Bologna. Because, like, you have Bologna's, right? Like, with the team composition here, right? You think, like, okay, we'll get the Aphrodite, we'll get the Kali, we'll have Bologna disarm whatever hard carry, so Kali can get in and do the damage. But they can only really stop Freya's damage out because Circuit is so ability focused that there's very little Bologna can do there as the support and really the only true frontliner until Aphrodite has, what, another 2 items at this rate.
1 basic. That's all.
Right, just
Circuit
one
needs.
basic.
1. And the poison lasts far longer.
Boom. That's going to do some
There you
damage.
go.
And here comes the Wrecking Squad. Titan is in there. Disarm hits 3, beats away by Kanye Life. The ultimate to kick Lobster out of his circle of protection. He runs back in just because it feels better there. He can't heal up from it. There he is. Now the poison is off. He can heal himself. There's the Wing Gust, and they've successfully dodged Titan's aggression for now. Tricksnake may get chain slow. Yes, it's a nicely placed Madness coming
Beautiful.
out from Reppy. Moving in his Kanye Life. The root, the pluck, the disarm. Config going to try to get him at Pretty Prime. Hits him through the wall. Unstable Vortex securing that one. 13 kills, a 2 now. Still as Titan continues to roll forward.
They got out of that.
Yeah.
Paradigm had escaped, and they still can't escape. Tough stuff for the black and yellow squad in this first game here. But good thing is, I mean, this game isn't over, of course. A lot of Smite to be played, but it is a best of 5. So they
Right.
do have a number of games to perform.
Titan have to be really careful doing stuff like that, though, because one small mistake and they could be straight back in the game. If they wipe them there, then that could be a goal free for them or anything, you know?
Right. But with Fatalis not done yet, it's still really tough, right? When Fatalis is done, it gets really dangerous because Kali
Yes.
can walk down your whole team. Good news for Paradigm here. They have 2 kills. Not so great. But those kills are on the 2 best characters it could be on, I guess.
Yeah.
Very
Kali
true.
and Rom.
Very true.
Obviously, as we kind of indicated, the carry potential is significantly higher. The top end for Paradigm, when everybody's worth 15,000 gold, Paradigm is going to be the better squad. But oof, Titan, Reppy is way out ahead.
And we've seen this during the summer split. I mean, it's the joke around with the Paradigm guys that, you know, Lobster's our feeder and we win despite that. But all jokes, all good jokes, are rooted in a little bit of truth. And the games that Lobster hasn't actually had a good KDA, Paradigms can still come out up on top, especially when you consider Isis. We were banking on the fact here in the booth, we were talking about it during picks and bans. Isis, we're not looking for the damage out of her. We're looking for the stuns and the silences out of those spirit balls and the silence. And guess what? That doesn't really change with her being behind. So if we can still get that utility out of the mid laner for Paradigm, that's all right as long as we get to the point for the other
you gotta
carries.
have that. I mean, you gotta have at least some amount of respect for the magical damage, right? And Lobster's putting just no pressure out in terms of the itemization that Titan's gonna be forced into.
Very true.
So when they go into Witchblades and Midgardian Mails as their 5th items here, Kali has a very hard time dealing with that.
That's the truth. She'll have to really rely on her penetration.
Oh, did he catch the roll? He caught the roll. Funballer's
yeah.
dead. Amazing play by Kanye Life there.
Brilliant.
I mean, you saw him. He got the root, walked forward, waited for the roll, caught it out. I mean, that's
it was fun because it was intentional. Right?
Okay, this could be a big deal. If QFred's able to secure this kill for himself, yeah, Ataraxia realizes it's pretty much all done, but the song and the dance. QFred picks up his second kill there. Chinsai's doing a lot of work. Feels good. It's a step in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it would have been great for them if Funballer survived that there. That would have been really good for them.
But unfortunately, they get one kill and lose two towers.
Yeah, Titan's walking in the direction they want to, right towards a Phoenix, and this might be one of their earliest. I mean, I don't know if they're going to siege this part, but this is the earliest look at a Phoenix that we've seen all tournament.
That's probably the weakest part of this team is going to be breaking the base.
Yep.
They have to basically take the fight and win the fight like at the Phoenix. They don't have anything to really siege very well with. As Reels mentioned earlier, right? Confrey, once those steroids are down, there's not much you can do. QFred trying to make the hero play, moving forward. He'll eat a lot of damage there, and the Circuit ultimate as Titan tries to disengage. It looks like Paradigm wants to keep fighting. Is Eagle's rally available? It is! Here he goes. 3-man stun. One beats the way. Confrey turns and puts out those gumballs of death. Spirit Ball hits two, but as we mentioned, Lobster, not a lot of damage to his name, not a lot of itemization, not doing what it could do at 20 minutes for an Isis.
No follow-up. I mean, the team was... It looked very interesting. It looked like a communication breakdown right there. Trick Tank went in and got a great stun and a great position for the ultimate, but Paradigm lagging behind, not really able to make the foot traffic to get actually in that fight.
But amongst all this, the Kali and the Afro are still doing pretty well for themselves. I mean, that's probably why they're not surrendering.
Exactly.
Yeah, the pressure onto Aphrodite basically went to nothing after that one attempted gank. Titan going to take what appears to be, yes, it will be an uncontested free gold Fury here. It'll be their second of the game as well.
Ouch.
At the 21-minute mark. And, well, the graphs are going to look bad for the rest of this game.
Yeah.
Suffice to say, Paradigm is very far behind, and they're looking to stall. I mean, they got to make up 20 more minutes here without losing the game.
Paradigm really can't be pressing T right now, Bart. It's just going to hurt their morale a little bit. Titan, looking at this tier 2, they're going to go ahead and take it right now at the 21-minute mark, almost on the dot, just 7 seconds above it. Now, I mean, so Reels, you play Hunter for your team, and that's obviously the late game position, and you're looked at as one of the roles that your team kind of relies on sometimes. What sort of mindset does Paradigm have to have here? Because we've talked it. It's going to be Kali and how this works out. How do you sort of get your team to just, wait, I'll do it, I'll handle it, how do you get your team to trust you like that?
Well, in this scenario, it's not really about the Hunter. The Hunter just needs to sit back, do his job, maybe look for some snipes, and hopefully from here the Afro and the Kali can do work. You know, all they need, I mean, when it's getting to the point, I mean, the Afro's level 18, the Kali is only level 16, but once they get nearer to level 20, it only takes one mistake from Titan on the Phoenix, and they could be straight back in the game. So yeah, I don't really know. It's gonna be tricky for Titan to push a Phoenix down as here. They're gonna have to be super careful.
Yeah, one thing to keep an eye on here is that it's, you know, Funballer plays a very big role in these team fights. As Reels mentioned, right, it's not going to be him gas pedaling 3 targets and winning the fight outright, but yeah, that pull just off the mark. Certain death coming the way of QFred. Dodges the madness as well. Gets the stun. Can they return kill here? The Chain CC's coming through the Replicons, but he dashes out. Weakening Curse use Wrath of Terra as well, but it will be a disengage, it looks like. But as we're mentioning, those astral arrows, it's very important that Rom is able to hit a couple targets and get that Executioner stacked up on them to enable that Kali damage. Looking at the Lotus Crown on the side of Sylvanas, you can expect all of those targets to have bonus physical protection.
Jumping in is
Rally's
Trick
good.
Tank. Gets a beautiful stun, and QFred's going to get another kill into his win column. That'll help out the problems and get the Kali started just a little bit more than she already is.
So the way the bounties are calculated in SMITE, it has to do with the difference of your level and their level, their experience and their gold values versus yours. And getting a kill there on that very farmed Replicos as Kali gave him actually a really nice influx of gold that accelerates him through the demonic grip and into that sacred relic, moving into Rada Tahuti.
And this is what Paradigm have been waiting for. The Titan are trying to force a little bit too much. And they're going a little bit too aggressive. And look at the position Paradigm in right now. They're baiting the Fire Giant off that just one kill. You know, just because they've got a great late game comp here.
There we go. The Banishes come out onto the front lines. They have Sylvanas isolated a little bit here. Trix Tank looking for that initiation. Eagles rally not available again just yet. Ataraxia poked out to about 50% HP as he went to contest that Fire Giant, but will be healed up now by Sylvanas. Paradigm now the ones that look a little bit out of sorts.
Getting away from the Fire Giant is Paradigm. As you said, it was just a bait. We're going to have a blink and a root onto Zelia. Long range hit, just going to nail him. And surrounded by 3 members of Titan, Undying Love is used, but with the 4th hit, Ataraxia shows up, takes out his lane opponent, solo lane down.
Oh, man. I mean, the communication there to get that to work. Okay, I'll root him. And now Funballer's been caught out as well. Yeah, the silence coming through. He dashes away, but
ouch.
There's 4 blinks and a lot of leaps on that team. He ain't going nowhere, buddy. And now Lobster. Well, we know Lobster's dead. He just doesn't have the HP with his level disadvantage to do anything there. And, well, the bright light the Paradigm had for a moment, they've given back now to Titan. Now it's going to be Titan looking to aggress that Fire Giant.
Yeah, I think they were feeling themselves a bit too much after that return kill there.
Yeah.
A couple of guys
All right,
out
boys,
position.
it's Fire Giant. We're going to...
Yeah, they were still 10k goal behind. And they probably just thought Titan were a bit scared after that. They were still out of position, and, yeah, they got caught.
As Bart said, the level of communication as we see Fire Giant taken down by Titan uncontested, that play, the stun into the ultra long, we call raw ultimate snipes. That's a true snipe from a mile away. That was an incredible play by Titan.
60% of Aphrodite's HP as well.
Yeah, I mean, we talk a lot about how Titan is this one unit, this, one squad with 20 abilities, not 5 different players. That right there is proof in the pudding. Great stuff. Love it.
I'm just so scared of this Lotus Crown on Sylvanas here and the implications that it has. Kali kill potential is just like, as a whole, the team has so much more physical protection now with this item. It's going to be really tough for her. And now Malice completed as well onto the Circuit. Really, really good at dealing with high mobility characters, getting that bonus damage out there.
She's already top of the player damage, and the Malice is just going to help even more, but quietly, Kivo Fred, well, I guess not so quietly, he's been the shining light for his team so far. 11,500 player damage coming out from the Kali despite having a rough start. That's exactly what Paradigm needs to happen. This graph needs to continue looking this way. Unfortunately, Lobster's just going to be on the bottom, but they need to see that Kali in that 1, 2, 3 spot if they have any chance of winning this game.
Well, Freya has her core online, Ratatouille on top of her Demonic Grip and Fatalis. Not really the most impressive Freya game at a Confrey this go-around.
Oh, he hasn't had to do much, really, to be honest.
Couple banishes.
Pretty Prime and Replicas have played absolutely flawless this game.
I suppose he's 0-8, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been in.
Yeah,
exactly.
He isn't getting that Reels luck, turning the corner, shooting 1 in hand and getting the kill credit.
Exactly. You just gotta wait for them to be 1 HP and then you fire your in hand.
Just a little bit of the waiting game right there to see who gets the kill. As you see Titan heading down the left-hand side of the map. They do have Fire Giant, and they've got 4 members of
at this
team.
point, let's actually take a listen in here with Paradigm as they attempt to defend their base at 26.5 minutes.
Can we defend?
Yeah, we're defending. Ulting him.
Fucking took so much damage. I took so much damage.
Heal up.
We can concuss.
Go back.
We can concuss. Just wait.
Just get in the hill.
Get out after.
Oh, they got the... Yes.
Yeah.
we defend this one though.
Defend, go.
Yeah.
Holy scheiße. He ulted me. Oh, I tried to get out of that. Yeah, we can't really fight him.
I'm done.
Can't even have abilities. I know, we fucked
I
it.
don't know. We fucked the early, I say.
Yeah, we fucked it early as well.
This
Also,
is
when
what's
I
happened
think-
yesterday as well.
Yeah, well, like one of these games, like we do fucking great some of the games, and then one of the games shit just goes down and dive ult, so you get the kill. Lol, the reset though.
Look at that damage though. We were the ones so bad in that game. Good job.
We're
We
the
can still
ones
win.
so-
What the fuck?
Yeah, well, this is gonna be rough as all.
Why are you
I
so
have
down, like boys?
I'm not there, man.
This is rough.
This is
I thought they
fine.
already
We
finished.
got our list.
This is not over, man. We're fucking Kali up, bro.
This is perfect. Dream scenario. Dream fucking scenario. Let's go.
The dream. We're actually right where we want to be, right?
We can get those free wars. Look at this.
That goal, dude.
The fucking goal. Look at that. I'll get a bit of extra
Guys,
gold
they
on
have
here,
they have
boys.
no heavenly. Listen up, they have no heavenly. When we just go in all in engage, just do what fucking go all in. Don't let them re-engage, okay?
Okay. Fair play.
I mean, XP is like, doesn't matter at this point.
Well, you hear Paradigm down, but not out there. Still seeing the glimmers of hope.
Right where it needed to be, they said. So, I mean, this
Yeah,
is
this
just going just the way they wanted. So, I mean...
They've got Titan in the palm of their hand
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
As
This is
all
exactly-
3 lanes, oh, no, 2 lanes are exposed.
When they picked this team comp, they said, look, we're not going to win until we're 20,000 gold down and 15 kills out of it. But
maybe them early deaths, that was their tactic.
Yeah.
tactical
Bait
feeding
them
is
into
your
a
guys
lot of
say.
Feeding. Taking
false
a leaf
security.
Taking a leaf out of Zapman's book.
Yep, Zapman's been tactical feeding since 2012. But on a serious note, I mean, how could you not respect the Paradigm guys? I mean, the second somebody gets a little negative, you hear not just 1 but 2 members on the team. Don't get down. It's all good. We've got a hyper carry. We're still in this. It happened yesterday. No big deal. No big deal. That's
it's really
what you
nice
need.
to hear Fumble trying to boost the morale of the team. And you hear everyone was a little bit down after they got wiped in their own base there. And Fumble said some stuff to them, and then everyone cheered up a little bit. You know, they were joking about getting some gold from the wards and stuff like that. So,
I mean, how important is that? We always talk about the old platitude about how, you know, competition is 90% mental, but it really is. How important is it to have somebody like Trix Tank say, no, that's exactly where we need to be? Clearly just a joke.
yeah, I mean, that stuff can always help. Most of the time it does, you know, like trying to just boost morale. And even if you lose the game, just trying to get it out of your head and move straight into the next game.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. They're going to look to make the play. Over on the left side of the map is Titan, but they lost a little bit of speed there. Not going through the optimal path, perhaps getting into the jungle. They will find Trix Tank easy peasy. Oh, Eagles Rally. Is it enough? No, it's not. It's definitely not enough. They're just way too mobile. Wrath of Terra used their Q of Fred, finding his way out, and now a blink of his own to get away. To Fred with the plays. He has his Odysseus bow done as well. And there's a lot of Asclepius finish now for Aphrodite, so they're starting to get the pieces together, but they're going to lose their third Phoenix here. They basically just have to defend the Titan.
Yep. And Paradigm there, just trying to get some free farm where they gave up the Fire Giant and obviously backfired with the Janus ult.
That's just the way it goes. And also, maybe most importantly with Bologna going down is that the shell is not going to be available for them either to help deal with this assault.
Looked like Titan was just going to go all into the Titan.
Fred got exploded.
Lobster also going to suffer the same fate. Ataraxia with the double kill on top of that one. And you've got 2 members alive, and right now Titan focusing the enemy of their own namesake. That'll fall down, and the first game goes to Titan in this best of 5.
Well, you know, it was a noble effort there by Paradigm to try to keep that together, but unfortunately just gave up a